Dinosaur lately. Here's another one. Very good. That's all for now. Okay. Now, how about we give you a quick little checkup here? Yeah. I heard somewhere that you might have hurt yourself fighting with your other cage mates. Well, why don't we just go right on ahead and treat that little wound you've got there. I'm just gonna put some peroxide on it for you, okay? Little tiny sample bottles. Because it wasn't a very big scratch, so isn't a very big scratch. It's still present tense. Go. Okay, yeah, I see. Over on your side. Alright, well, we can fix you right up, can't we? Just let me rub it on there a little bit. Okay. Now, just take some of this. Just see it. And put that on it. That'll help it not hurt, okay, baby? Yeah, your bar is sturdy. Okay, we gotta make sure. Because you still don't like me very much sometimes. Okay. There we go. All done. Now, a nice little bandage here. Just gonna wrap this around you. All done there, baby. I know. There. All done. All done. Now, I think that'll do it. Let me close up my little box here. That was loud. Okay, because you behaved so well while I was treating you, I've got another treat. Okay, here you go, open wide. Good job. Now then, Panda's got to move a little bit here. There we go. Just off the coast of Isla Nublar, a small submarine cut through the dark ocean waters, heading toward the abandoned Jurassic World lagoon. The Dinosaur theme park had been closed for years and was in a state of sad disrepair. The two men operating the sub had orders to retrieve an important sunken object. Above the surface of the water, no stars shone in the night sky. Rain poured down. Inside a guard station at the surface next to the lagoon, a technician worked the controls that opened the lagoon's algae-covered steel gates and spoke into a mic. "Where are you, Marine 1? We've just passed the gates," the sub's pilot answered. "Roger that," the technician said. "Air 1, clear for takeoff. Begin tracking." Behind him, a helicopter lifted off into the sky. "Copy that," said its pilot. "Tracking on." As the technician watched, the helicopter flew over the lagoon, tracking the sub. Inside the cramped quarters of the sub, the two men were sweating. "Relax," the pilot said to the man beside him. "Anything here'd be dead by now." The sub's bright floodlights lit up bleached white bones in the bottom of the lagoon. "There she is," the pilot said, "the Indominus Rex." He steered the submarine right over the dinosaur skeleton. The other man operated the sub's robotic arms, grabbing a rib bone and sawing it off. "Air 1, specimen collected," the pilot radioed, "sending to the surface." "Copy that," the helicopter pilot radioed back. As the men in the sub sent the bone up in a sealed glass tube attached to an inflatable balloon with a flashing red beacon, a huge and ominous shadow passed silently behind the submarine and her unsuspecting crew. The rib bone broke through the surface of the water and bobbed in the rough waves. The men in the helicopter spotted the beacon, opened the copter's door, and snagged the bone using a mechanical claw lowered from a long cable. "Land 1, the helicopter pilot radioed to the technician in the guard station. "We've got what we came for. We're coming back for you." "Roger that," the technician said. "Marine 1, I need to close the lagoon gates. Get out of there." "Understood," the submarine pilot said. "We're heading out. Stand by." But at that moment, a massive silhouette appeared in the water. The man who'd worked the robot arms peered through the submarine's cockpit window. Suddenly, he saw a gigantic eye. In the helicopter, the submarine signal flickered out on the instrument panel. The pilot looked puzzled. "Marine 1, confirm your position. We lost your signal." But there was no answer. The helicopter landed near the guard station. Then, boom! The ground shook. Leaves fell from the trees. "What was that?" the pilot asked, alarmed. In the guard station, the technician spoke into his headset, starting to sound a little frantic. "Marine 1, I've got to close the lagoon gates. Confirm you're out." Silence. "Can you hear me? Marine 1, confirm your position." In the helicopter, the crew members spotted what had caused the loud boom. They frantically waved their arms, trying to get the attention of the technician, but he couldn't hear them over the sound of the helicopter. Finally, he noticed what they were pointing behind him. He turned around just as lightning flashed, illuminating a massive Tyrannosaurus Rex looming high over him, her colossal head and razor-sharp teeth just feet away. Roar! Terrified, the technician ran toward the helicopter, but it was already taking off. "Throw him the ladder!" shouted one of the guys in the copter. A rope ladder unrolled from the helicopter. The technician grabbed it and climbed as the helicopter rose. Chomp! The T-Rex bit the rope ladder below the technician. The rope went taut. It was a tug-of-war between the T-Rex and the helicopter, with the technician caught in between. "Cut it!" yelled a crew member. "Let him go!" Other crew members started unhooking the ladder. "No, wait!" screamed the technician. Snap! The rope ladder broke where the T-Rex had grabbed it with her teeth. The technician held on, dangling from the upper half of the ladder as the helicopter started to fly away. The technician breathed a sigh of relief that had been close, but now he was safe. Whoosh! A mosasaurus, one of the largest reptiles to ever hunt the seas, roared up out of the lagoon with its gigantic mouth wide open. The mosasaurus engulfed the screaming technician. The chopper flew safely into the night sky. Its crew members stared as the mosasaurus crashed back down to the water. With the Indominus Rex bone locked in a high-tech metal container, the helicopter flew away over the mountains. The mosasaurus leapt out of the water and plunged back into the inky depths. Then she whipped her huge tail and swam through the lagoon's open gates into the ocean. She was free. I'll read one more chapter, because you're dozing off there. Chapter 2. 3 years later, a television news report showed a smoking volcano. An anchor woman's voice said, Isla Nublar, the former site of the ill-fated theme park Jurassic World, now faces a new threat. Its volcano, long thought to be dormant, has recently become active. Geologists predict an extinction-level event will soon kill off the last dinosaurs known to exist on the planet, and that has raised a serious debate on the floor of the Senate today. Should the United States government step in and rescue these creatures, or should we allow the dinosaurs to once again become extinct? The picture on the TV switched from the volcano to a man leaving a government building, ducking reporters' questions. He covered his face with his hands. Former Jurassic World scientist Dr. Henry Wu, stripped of all credentials after being found guilty of bioethical misconduct, refused to comment, reported an anchorwoman. The TV was in the office of the Dinosaur Protection Group, but the volunteers there were too busy to watch it. They talked on the phone, tapped away at computers, and painted protest posters with sayings like, "Save the dinos," and "They were here first." A soft chime from across the expansive room signaled the arrival of the elevator. The old pre-war doors began to open, but then stopped halfway. Inside the elevator was Claire Deering, who precariously balanced a tray of coffees in one hand and shoved the elevator doors open with the other. Claire crossed the room and deposited a cup of coffee on the desk of Zia Rodriguez, a tattooed paleo-veterinarian in her late 20s who spoke into her headset, trying to raise support for the Dinosaur Protection Group's efforts. Since patience wasn't her strong suit, Zia wasn't the world's greatest fundraiser, and her latest potential donor was slipping through her fingers. "Yes," she said with an exhausted sigh, "but your vocal support would send Congress a clear message that dinosaurs are living creatures with real emotions who don't deserve to be abandoned." Claire put down the tray of coffees. She knew that Zia's talents were in caring for dinosaurs and not talking on phones, so she motioned for Zia to hand over the receiver, and once she did, Claire was immediately in her element. "Hi, Congresswoman Delgado. My name is Claire. I'm the lead organizer here," said Claire as she moved around the room, seeing to other matters while talking on the phone at the same time. She was a multitasking maven, applying corporate management skills for good. "Our mission at the Dinosaur Protection Group is to secure funds for a safe, natural habitat for these creatures," said Claire, before stopping abruptly and listening to what was being said on the other end of the line. She took a deep breath. "Yes, I am the same Claire Deering who was the operations manager at Jurassic World, and yes, I do feel responsible for what happened there. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing now." Continuing, Claire stole away the private corner of the office. "Do you have kids, Congresswoman? Well, your kids, an entire generation, have grown up in a world where dinosaurs exist, and now they'll have to watch them go extinct again, unless people like you make a difference. Literally you, right here, right now." Claire waited for the Congresswoman to answer. When she did, Claire breathed a sigh of relief and said, "Thank you," before hanging up the phone and moving back to handing out coffees. She eventually found herself at Franklin Webb's desk. Franklin barely looked up at Claire when she set down a cup of coffee. The focused 24-year-old was much more comfortable with computers than people. Claire took a look at his screen and saw a video of herself giving a talk to a class of children. "How many views do we have?" she asked. 2 or 3, Franklin said. "Million?" Claire asked, surprised. "Ha, no, 200 or 300, answered Franklin, leaving Claire to deflate like a balloon while he continued. "The kids are cute, but the video's boring. The attention span of the internet is 17 seconds. You have to do something more than just make a good argument." Claire thought on this. "Okay, how do we get their attention?" "I don't know," Franklin shrugged. "But put a guy in a T-Rex suit on a motorcycle or something." Claire gave him a doubtful look. "They don't teach viral marketing at MIT, he said. "I'm doing my best here." Claire looked around the room at all the idealistic young people depending on her. "We're running out of time," she said. "It's on," Zia said, referring to the TV. On the screen, a man in a suit was speaking outside the government building. "The committee will not recommend any legislative actions regarding the de-extinct creatures on Isla Nublar. This is an act of God," and while Claire stopped paying attention to the TV and allowed the man's voice to trail off, she knew what this meant, and said as much to her team of volunteers. "They're all going to die and no one cares." "We do," Franklin insisted. As Claire smiled at Zia and Franklin, her cell phone buzzed. She answered it. "Hello? Yes, this is Claire Deering." Suddenly her expressive changed. Her look and her voice became excited. "Yes, I'll hold." Do you want to hear one more chapter? Okay, just one more. Hold on, let me see how long this is. I don't want to leave you on a cliffhanger. Well, this chapter's pretty long. You know what? I think I'll save this chapter 3 for the next video. Dog ear that page. And I think it's time you get some rest. It'll give you something to think about. A little bit of a cliffhanger. I'll see you later, okay? And don't worry, guys. We can finish chapter 3 in the next video. Or I'll get around to it sometime.